Why do people still compose classical music? It's been around for thousands of years. And before I answer this, let me take you on a journey that started with one chord. A chord that started it all. It was the Mini Singers Christmas show. I was antsy, fidgety. I didn't want to be there. I was 7 until I heard that chord. Hearing that magnificent chord planted a seed in me, a love for music that wouldn't sprout until years later when I was accepted into the Mini Singers myself. Being surrounded by all that music, singing, that is what brought me here, so that I could compose my own music. Now, when I told people this, I got a pretty common response. Cool. But why? Now, this has 2 parts. Why do I spend hours putting lines and dots on a page, trying to make the sounds that sound good in my head sound good in real life when they're performed? Good question. Good question. But also, why classical? Why choral? It's been around for thousands of years. We don't need it anymore. Well, that is a complicated story. And in order to know that, you have to know my inspiration for this project. It was sophomore year when I was first introduced to the piece Ave Maria, composed by Jesse Wiener. I was impressed with this, but I was more impressed by the fact that he went to this school. He went to this school, he composed that piece in this school, and he was my age. To me, that was incredible to know that somebody in the modern day could do that. So, I wanted to do that. So I went down the path. I took the classes. I asked Miss Chandler, am I ready to do that? She said, no, you know nothing about music theory. So I took the music theory classes. I studied. I listened for hours and hours. It became what I primarily listened to. And then, after all that time, I went up to Miss Chandler right before this project. And I said, Miss Chandler, am I ready for this? And she said yes! So, when I started, I realized that writing music is great, but it's great. But there are a lot of hardships that come, like the writer's block. It's so crushing when that happens. When you sit down for hours trying to write and you can't. And the noises just don't sound right and it sucks. The next is knowing when to put down the pen and trust yourself. You just gotta do that. You don't want to revise it and stay on it. The next piece is probably the hardest hardship I've had to deal with. I'm calling it having to kill your loved one. Because when you spend so much time working on something, it can really be crushing when you look back and you say, it's not worth it. You have to just give it up. You've put so much time and effort into it and it's just not worth it. It can really be crushing, especially because it's removing part of yourself at that point. But that is necessary, and it can be one of the best processes that you can learn how to do. So, on a happier note, my process. Basically, I like to start out with the lyrics. As a singer, I know you need the lyrics because it's the one thing that singers have that instrumentalists don't. It can portray stuff in a totally different way. And having that connection really makes singing special. Then it's the tone. It doesn't matter about the lyrics as much as the tone. The lyrics are important, but tone, how do you want your audience to feel? how do you want your audience to react? How do you want the singers to be able to portray it? Basically, tone is everything. But, so there's lyrics, tone. And now, it's the ability to make the sounds that sound good in your head go onto the page. It's the trickiest part, and I can't explain it because I don't truly understand it yet. But it's really hard. And it's basically making it sound good. But you know what? Enough about my process. That's a lecture for a different time. I could go on for hours about it. So let's get back to the central question. Why? Why am I here? Honestly, like I said, classical music, it's been around for literally millennia. Monks did it before, then it was Bach and Beethoven. Why don't we just leave it up to them to do it? Why don't we just let the composers of the past do it? Their pieces are timeless. But here's the thing. Every time somebody composes a new piece of music, it pushes the art form forward. It helps keep it moving. Whether it's truly inspiring, okay. It is meant to push the art form forward. It innovates, it excites, it inspires other creators. And doing that just allows you to keep classical music alive. Because that's why people do it. Without it, classical music would die. Now, any questions? Any questions at all? Yes, Matt.
Is there a key kind of inspiration for you, of all these classical artists?
Yeah.
One that kind of spoke out to you more than the other than the person you said performed here?
Yeah, so like one of the older people? Yeah, I would have to say probably my biggest inspiration in that way was Bach, because he really was one of the first people to do it, and he also composed so much. He literally composed thousands of pieces. Even though we only know like a good 100 of them, he composed thousands of them, and he just kept on writing. So yeah. You had a question?
Is your work available on Spotify?
Not yet. But you know what? We're working on it. Trip.
How long was the process of posting? How long did it take?
Oh man. So it really depended on the type of music. I'm gonna show you 2 pieces of music that I've done. One of them took around 2 months to do, and that's really what inspired me to say, learn to put down the pen, because I finished it in a month, but for another month, I just kept on revising it and changing every little thing, being like, oh, gotta do this, gotta make it go higher, gotta make it go lower, gotta make it go together. And that was really what I did until I just had to step back and be like, I'm trusting it. I'm trusting it. And then another piece that's much shorter took me around 2 weeks. So it all depends on what type of feel you're going, how long it is, and all of that. Nancy?
So, having taken theory classes,
Yes.
you now know the rules that constrain composition.
Exactly.
How did you get around those rules, and do you use the lyrics first as your inspiration, or did you have a melody in your head that you thought, I'd like to set that to, some words, or what's that process like?
So that process, I like to really, first of all, amazing question. I really like to start off with the lyrics because, like I said before, it's the one thing that singers have that we don't. Or not that we, I'm a singer, that instrumentalists don't. And I would always break down the lyrics. I wanted to really respect them, so like when it was really somber lyrics, I wanted to treat them very somberly. When it was very happy lyrics, I wanted to give it that bright feeling, so that even if you were just listening to it, you didn't look at it, you didn't hear it, well, you did hear it, that's how listening works. You could understand that, oh, it's in Latin, I don't know the words, but it's happier. Oh, it's really sad right now. It's sad. Wow, it sounds really weird. Something bad must be happening. So I start off with the lyrics, and then I usually go with a little, like, a big couple of key components. I'm like, I want it to start like this. I want it to have this climax. I want to end like this. And I just fill it in. Yes?
So going on Nancy's question about the rules and composition, could you tell me about your mindset when you're like thinking about this and knowing the rules and how to write, or learning how to write and what should happen? Did you ever find yourself saying, I'm going to go against this. I'm going to go against the rules, and instead of, like you were saying, I don't know, Latin or another language, and somebody's singing very brightly and beautifully, but yet they're singing about something very sad.
Right.
Or
right.
the opposite, somebody who's singing very angrily about something that they might love.
Exactly.
Do you find yourself, maybe not doing that yet, but finding yourself questioning as an individual, as you are learning the craft, to be uniquely you? Absolutely.
So if you were to take a music theory class and you were to do a lot of music history, you know that there were very, very strict rules. And it's even not just the lyrics, it's also, you have to have this chord, go to this chord, go to this chord. And if you do that, then you're breaking the rules. So my first step was kind of taking what I like about it, yes, this chord does go to this chord very well. But also it doesn't have to go to that chord. It can go to this other chord or this other one, or whatever. So, and I haven't really experimented so much with the lyrics as much as you were saying, portraying them differently, especially because most of my stuff has been on the computer, so it's been very animatronic. But I definitely feel like that's something that I want to explore more in college with the different compositional techniques with lyrics. Ms. Chandler?
2 questions.
Absolutely.
The first one is, did you actually compose using a pen?
I did. And that's a good thing. Like I said, I wrote it with a pen, not a pencil.
So I'm a music theory teacher, and one of my cardinal rules is that you never use a pen when you're doing music theory, because there will be mistakes. So that's why I'm asking that. And
I crossed a lot of stuff out. I crossed a lot of it out.
The question is, what do you plan on doing with this as you move forward? Do you plan on continuing to compose?
I would love to continue to compose and I'll get to more of that in my little conclusion statement, but I feel like it's really a way for me to help me push it forward, classical, especially because I have some ideas and I want to look at other people's ideas and run with them, and I want to take my own ideas and run with them, and I just want to try to push it as forward as I can. So, absolutely.
So kind of going on what she was just saying, and you're looking at this idea of figuring yourself out as you write and as you create and as almost you innovate, maybe you're getting to that stage, or we're going to get to that stage. But are you writing for you, or are you writing for others?
I'm writing to try and affect an audience, because I feel like, at least me as a performer, I can enjoy my music as much as I want, but unless it gets into the ears of an audience, then it's kind of just me writing alone, and it's not me doing anything. But if I can share it with a group of people, then I can really allow it to grow and maybe affect some people. So, yeah. So before I answer any more questions, I'm going to play one of my pieces. This was my first piece, the one that I told Trip took 2 months, and I just really hope you enjoy it. There's also no lyrics. This is a thing. It's going to be an ah sound, and just prepare. What are we looking at for time? We're good? Okay, just making sure. All right, so now this one is I have one more. I hope you enjoyed that one. But this one is a lot shorter, and just notice some of the differences. Any more questions? Now that you've heard the music, or do you just want me to wrap it all up? Oh, yeah, I have no worries.
Actually, I have two questions. First one is, especially in the first one, I noticed you didn't go with like the rules of voice leading and harmonic progression. Did that ever throw you off because we're not really taught how to do that, or is it very fun?
It's very fun, and it's very fun to watch your teachers react to you breaking all the rules. But it's also very difficult because you're breaking the rules, so it's a lot more guess and check. It's not as much, because with the rules, I know that this progression is going to work. I know it's going to sound mostly correct. I know it's going to happen, but when you're breaking those rules, a lot goes wrong. A lot goes wrong, and you just got to keep trying and just keep trying. So it's a lot harder, but it is more rewarding.
And also I noticed that you were, in your second piece, it started with all males. Have you dabbled with like an all-female or all-male voice thing, or like a piece that's not exclusively for a high school choir, because I know it's for that love? Have you dabbled with anything that isn't like all one kind of thing?
I've tried.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit later. All right.
How many pieces have you written?
I've written those two pieces. I've written the background music that you've been hearing. And I've written 2 piano solos. So it's a little bit, yeah. Absolutely. Chip?
Do you have plans for any particular groups to
Let's just say, I hope the mini singers really like that second piece. All right, so. So I feel like, just to wrap it up super quickly, we have to answer why I compose. Now, yes, it allows me to express myself in a new way. Yes, it allows me to be creative. Yes, it allows me to be the center of attention, which I love. But most importantly, like I said before, I want to affect an audience. I want to inspire somebody. Even if it's just to listen to more classical music while you're studying, or to sing with a chorus instead of alone in your room, or even to write. That would be amazing. I want to inspire people so that when I die, classical music doesn't. And I think that's my goal.